Welcome to Lashback, everyone. I'm Natalyan.
And I'm Phoebe. And today we're talking all about performance. Give us your quote, Nat.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long one, but I just Googled, like stage performance, and it says stage performance is an act or process of staging or presenting a play, concert, or other form of entertainment. It's also defined as the action or process of carrying out or accomplishing an action, task, or function. Weird. A good stage performance is when the performers feel comfortable. That's a good one. Enough to have fun on stage, connect with the audience. And stage acting is a style of performance in which a performer plies their craft on stage in front of a live audience in a play, musical, or opera. That's what came up when I.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, I guess it's useful for us to define for our audience here that our experience in performance is predominantly music, although I've done a bit of acting in my time.
yep,
And we're talking about from anything, aren't we? From karaoke, love a bit of karaoke,
yep.
um, to, leading a full band and going up there and being part of a written performance, like we've actually written the show and done it. And then, of course, you and me, Nat, did a gospel choir Sunday show every night for 2 years down in the Blue
Good.
Shoreditch. So,
Yeah.
like, what we saying?
So I think, yeah, performance is a big topic, and we're going to have numerous episodes about this. And again, as you say, for you and me, it's singing, live music on stage with a band. But there's all different types of performance. Even, I started a few years ago going to poetry performances as well,
I love
which
that.
I just thought was people talking, but there's a real skill to that, you know.
Spoken word, yeah, wow, really
It's
cool.
it's difficult to not lose people, and some people have it, some people don't, and it's about mastering that skill. And musicals are different from band performances, different from.
Choreography. Mm.
Exactly. So performing could be dance as well. For you and me, we've predominantly been, lead singers and backing singers and choir singers,
Yeah.
which all bring about different. Yeah, I love it. All bring about different skills for me, because I've always said that it's a real skill. So even if you want to be a lead singer of a band and be this big famous singer, to really master the art of blending your harmonies, learning those harmonies, and not standing out, but becoming one voice. So I
And
think that
also in
experience.
the example of you and me doing back and vocal together, you elbowing me in the side because I'm about to miss my cue. It's now. Shit, I lose focus. When I do backing vocals, I get like into talking about connection with the audience. So I do a lot of backing vocals for Tim, of course, as well, our mate. And you've got sod all to do in the verses. So I get really into like getting the crowd running along. I was like, oh God, the chorus is coming up. I actually have to sing now, which is very different. Like when I'm there with my guitar and I'm delivering
Yeah.
my own, if it's just me solo and I'm delivering my own songs, then I'm a little bit more thinking about the lyrics and what the hell am I doing with the fingers and why has that person just walked out? No, am I rubbish? And again, very different when I'm playing with my guitar and I've got the full
Yeah.
band because I've got my ear on the drummer and I've got my ear on, the bassist that's coming at the last minute and does he know the cue? So I turn into the person that's looking over and going, it's now.
No,
So there's a
no.
lot going on in the brain, really, because you can practice and have all the musical and vocal things down in your brain, like and in your fingers and in the body, because performance is a body thing, it's somatic. You have to practice.
Muscle
Even
memory.
even
Muscle.
though I'm a natural, like at a jam, I can just get up and do whatever. But if you're wanting to craft something and deliver what you've crafted, you have to practice and get it into the body and, like you say, muscle memory. But then when you're in that performance environment, there's a whole other range of sensory input coming from the environment you're in. And my pet peeve, and I try not to get arsy about it, if YouTube will allow me to use that word, is when there's talkers down the front. I actually find it really distracting. It's not
Yeah.
like I don't think people shouldn't be talking over the music, but it actually really distracts me. I will forget a lyric or mess up a chord,
Yeah.
because I get into their conversation. I once actually said too. They were really kind of disrespectful, and they've been disrespectful to all the performers that night. They're sitting there having this really deep chat. And after one of the songs, I said, "Oh, did you enjoy Tenerife? Did you, the holiday?" And I engaged them in the conversation. And by the end of my next song, they'd gotten up and left.
Well, that's good. But I mean, in terms of going back to kind of the backing vocals or being part of a performance, and especially if it's someone else's track or
Yeah,
you're backing them, right? And that's a real skill, and I'm really proud of that. But it's you do have to muscle memory is key because if the lead singer, for example, doesn't do what you expect them to do, you need to be able to adapt. And you know me and my perfectionist nature and like really
very perfectionist.
embodying that and knowing that. And we've had many gigs together where we've done it for fantastic people that have gone off and have looked to us to get them back on.
Mm,
So it's really being part of the band. And I'll say to any band there, your backing vocalists are more than people that just sing behind you. They're an
yeah,
integral part of the sound, of the dynamic, and I've got a lot of skills from singing as a backing vocalist and
same.
equally choirs as well. Choirs are, I'd say to anybody who wants to be a singer, go and join a choir.
100%.
I
100%. The
really do.
accountability of singing with other people. And for me, like when I'm delivering whether it's a cover or one of my own songs, I'm delivering a story and I'm taking the audience from start to finish of the song. And when I'm doing backing vocals or choir, it's more like voice as instrument, a sonic makeup of the whole thing, like you say, in the band. And hands free as well. So you're not always singing
Yeah.
like you are when you're lead singing. You can't you're delivering the whole song start to finish, and as a backing
Mm.
vocalist you're kind of hands free. The the guitarist knocks over a drink, you go and pick that drink up and be part of that. On the No guitarist should knock over their drink, but it happens. These things happen. They do. I love harmony singing. I know you do as well.
It's just so powerful. And also working with different groups of people really ensure that you grow as a person as well because you're mixing with, especially in a choir, it depends on the level of the choir. There's a lot of professional choirs in London, for example, that I mean they are the top of their game, and then I've been in choirs that maybe not so much, and the ability to be able to pull people through without kind of killing their confidence as well, and really supporting each other. It's a real skill with working with people because you know I'm very much a leader, but it's important to not always be the leader because you're not always the leader and you should be able to sit back sometimes, but also support people in a good way. Because I'm like, the only thing that annoys me is when people don't turn up prepared, and then you're like, well, I just spent 10 hours working on that.
Yeah,
Why didn't you?
turn up to rehearse, not to learn.
Exactly, and that's very different. You shouldn't be like, oh, okay, what are we doing? That's not rehearsal. Rehearsal is rehearsal. Learning is learning. You should learn before you get in the room.
Yeah,
But on that note about kind of professionalism and everything, I think a key thing as well, which we'll talk across continents here as well, because as you know, I've lived in Australia, UK, and I'm in the USA right now, and how people are paid is something that really needs to be addressed. We all know this, and that's why you have, for example, in the UK, the Musicians Union. But I think there needs to be an overall better understanding of musicians and vocalists being musicians.
yeah,
If you're
100%.
offering people, yeah, I'm part of this site, I can't remember what it's called, and this one guy keeps posting gigs for like £80 for like 4 hours, and it's gigs on his platform that he created, and his debate with that is that I'm just posting the gigs I get, that's it's just my platform. No, 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 you have a responsibility.
You're the
80 pounds
buyer.
to travel there, £80 to prepare your set, £80 to deliver the set,
It's a
£80 to
thousand
make.
pounds worth of equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something needs to change there, and it is different across borders. It's definitely better from a where I am in South Carolina in terms of payment than it is,
Mm.
say, London. But we need to, as musicians, stop accepting that because if there's not a market for that kind of behaviour, then it's not going to occur, is it?
I think also this clicks into something that we talked about previously around imposter syndrome. And if I think earlier back in my earlier kind of career, I go, yeah, I'll come and do that gig for free because I don't really feel like I'm a real musician.
Yeah.
Versus now going, no, you have to pay me for my time because I,
Even our friends pay us, don't they?
yeah,
Even our friends, when we've been hired, you and me do not do it for free. I don't expect my electrician friend to come and work for free for me. He might give me a slight discount, but I wouldn't even ask for that, you
yeah.
know. I always use this example.
Go on.
Sorry, I always use this example that if I was an electrician and I moved to a village and there was two other electricians in that village and I started doing my work for free, what do you think would happen? There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. It's criteria, isn't it? Because this kind of clicks into the whole songwriting thing and the fact now anyone could write a song using AI and you know creators of songwriters are potentially in a lot of trouble. I've been thinking a lot about this recently and talking with friends and colleagues around it. And where AI might, yeah, be able to write a good song, they don't AI will not be on that stage performing at your charity event. So really where there's money since streaming and now AI in songwriting, it really is about the delivery of that performance. And I've got a gig tomorrow actually. Well, by the time this airs, it would have been a couple of weeks back. Which that they want two 45-minute sets of originals, which is amazing because that's me being able to take my songwriting into a paid environment.
Mm.
Because a lot of places ask for covers gigs, and that's great, but we're also writers, and in that sense, there's an artistry there that should be recognized by audiences and the industry itself. Um, the other thing about that to say is I've been reading a lot about song at the moment because of this master's that I'm doing. And
Yeah.
it's actually quite difficult to divorce humanity from song. So, every parent has made up a little song to teach their kids something. I've got little songs for my cats. You might come up with a little song to remember something for school. It's very difficult, so there becomes this community aspect, and then there becomes this industry aspect. This sort of like it's a commercial endeavor. And what's the boundary line, the click into that of I keep saying the word click. I don't quite know what I mean. But what's the boundary, from I'm just doing this for me because it's part of my humanity and I'm gonna, some people I'm gonna run a group at church or in my local community centre and we're gonna write songs and we're gonna sing songs together and have a fun choir because it's genuinely good for our health to sing with other people and it feels really good. Um, into this is a situation where you should be paying me. And a good example of that is sort of like a lot of bars in London will say, we're a music venue, come for live music. So that isn't necessarily the space for professional songwriter, although a lot of professional songwriters do these gigs because that essentially the bar is saying we do live music, and so therefore we have live musicians come. That's not live musician sharing my work, buy tickets to come and see me. And it's always those gigs where you've got someone talking in the front versus, I don't know, playing a gig where somebody's bought a ticket to come and see you and your songwriting. And then they're attentive to what you're doing because the intention of why you're there. We're going down that place on a Friday night because it's live music, wicked. Doesn't matter who it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Versus I bought a ticket to go and see Natalie Ann do her new album.
Yeah. I mean, I always think the whole going back to a point you said, um, I always think the whole covers thing's crazy because every cover song started as an original,
Yeah.
right? So, I get that people want to dance to certain things, and I get there's a market for that, but I just think that we're going to run out of songs. And it's like, we've got an episode coming up about this soon to do with lockdown and musicians and that kind of market and acting, the creative industries really got cut. And everyone's sitting at home getting through it by watching Netflix, for example. And I'm thinking, you're not putting two and two together and making four here. You're going to run out. And then there was a period of nothing coming out that was new. And I remember people moaning about that, like online. I'm like, again, you're not putting two and two together.
Yeah.
There's nothing to give you
Yeah.
because you're thinking that somehow these shows, these albums come about without the creative musicians that you're trying to cut from schools, from any granted support or anything. You're going to run out of music. You're going to run out of that. And
And
I
we
know
lose a
that.
lot of heart in society as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to just kind of, because we're getting at time here, we like to keep our episodes succinct so you can watch and listen to them on the go. But from a songwriting perspective, and we're definitely going to talk about this more in different episodes, but what's your experience with songwriting and your blockers? Because I have some key ones, but I'm going to hand to you first. You're a significant songwriter. You are a songwriter. It's taken me a long time to even say I'm a songwriter. I'm still not there yet. So over to you, Phoebe. What's your experiences and any tips there for the listeners?
Gosh, I could talk for days on this one. So just to reference what I said a little while ago, we might make up a little song to teach the kids something or to uh keep ourselves company as we're walking down the road. This kind of little ditty, you might call it, that happens in the brain. Maybe it's singing along. Um and in terms of crafting a fully formed song, I mean, there's a little thing about what's your creative intention? Do I want to write a song that's like a pop song, which is verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus? Do I want to write a story more like a folk song, which is more, sort of, I'm going to tell a little bit of story and then have a little refrain, which is a repeated bit at the end of each one? And my dance music, which is normally a little bit more linear, doesn't necessarily have verse, chorus, but sort of musical bits and then hooks, then musical bits and then hooks. So it's kind of like having a little idea about what you're going for. And
Yeah,
you can change your mind mid-process as well. And then thinking about what it is you want to say. And everybody does it differently. Some people start the chorus. Some people will just have like a little bit of an idea. That's a really cool lyric to this little melody, and I've been playing it. At some point, you have to sit down and do the work. At some point, you just have to be like, okay, pen and paper, write out the lyric, mental work, trying to find the rhymes. Some songs come a lot easier than other songs. But there's
yeah,
quite a lot of academic research actually around how the actual writing of a song can help to synthesize thought and feeling in a way that no other kind of way of doing it would be. Like in the arts as well, like if you're going to write a theatre piece or whatever. So you can I don't know, go to therapy and talk about an issue with somebody and come to a particular awareness about, oh, I know my breakup really hurt me, or that thing that happened when I was a kid, whatever. If you sit down and write a song about it, you might come to a different awareness around that thing. And there's a couple of songs for me that have taken me quite a long time to write, because it's not as simple. I don't know, I'm writing about uh, a story about a girl who likes to write poetry, which is one of my recent songs. She's sitting on a beach and she's writing poetry. A very easy song to write in terms of the lyric. And then there's
yeah,
a song I wrote called Can't See in the Dark, which is about surviving cancer. And I swear down, it took me 2 years to really feel like I'd finished the song, because it took me about 2 years to really understand what I'd just been through. So it's like there's no one process, there's no one way of doing it, there's no right, there's no wrong. But at some point, you sit down and you do the work of taking idea into, I'm ready to go and perform this, or to record it. And that's about, like, okay, so this is too long, it's too short. And I'm a very big advocator. Lots of people I know will say she's banging on about that thing again, where your song isn't
yeah,
truly written until you've done it in front of an audience and seen how it lands, and that brings in the performance piece.
yep. So yeah, I mean, I will talk about this in another episode, but I think blockers for me are definitely, I tend to get an incredible verse together and then the chorus I struggle with because I'm very much a verse person. But for me, I have to kind of detach myself and then really just sit there and play. And I write on piano, so that's kind of my key component. But I think, to end this episode, and we'll go on to another episode, as we said, I think just sit down and write. It doesn't mean that your song has to be, this global hit.
Totally.
Just
A
like,
tip on choruses is often where your verse is talking about something, the chorus is the other perspective. And
yeah.
maybe a chorus needs to respond to what you've just said. So
And
like,
it's also rehearsal. It's rehearsal, and you get better and better and better. So I think let us know, guys, if there's any, songwriters out there or wannabe songwriters. Everyone can write a song. So it'd
everyone
be good
can.
to, yeah, be good to see your links, to hear your feedback, your thoughts, any tips, and we're going to do more on this because we are singer-songwriters ourselves.
And I would say you would write a better song than AI, even if AI does it for you.
Completely,
Complete.
completely.
Over and out then. Till next
Yeah.
time.
Till next time, guys, please comment and share. See you later.